The death toll has passed over 1,100 in the Israel-Hamas conflict, making it the deadliest conflict witnessed to date. As Israel prepares with more than 100,000 troops at the Gaza border, the world ponders, how did Israel not see this coming? Why did the Iron Dome not intercept the barrage of missiles fired? The situation on the ground grows more intense by the hour. Hospitals in Gaza are overwhelmed, and the constant airstrikes paint a grim picture. As fighting rages on in key areas, speculations arise. Will Hezbollah join the fight? Is Israel planning to take over the entire Gaza Strip? And if so, what's holding them back? Join us as we navigate through this unfolding catastrophe to unpack the current state of affairs and uncover the answers that the whole world awaits eagerly. In the early hours of October 7th, 2023, as dawn broke and Israel was in the midst of celebrating the Jewish holiday of Simchat Torah, a chilling echo from the past resounded. A seeming repetition of history, yet, this time, under a different light. It had been precisely 50 years and a day since Israel was caught off guard during Yom Kippur by Egyptian and Syrian forces. Yet history, it seems, has a cruel way of repeating itself. Hamas unleashed an unprecedented offensive, with militants infiltrating deep into Israeli territory using an array of innovative tactics, from paragliders to naval infiltrations, and even tearing down established barriers. As the sun rose, 5,000 rockets darkened the skies, as disclosed by Mohammed Deif, the mind leading Hamas's military wing. This all-out, bold offensive immediately cascaded into a havoc that Israel did not foresee, despite Gaza being one of the most heavily surveilled regions on Earth. The initial barrage saw the city of Tel Aviv, usually far from the conflict's epicenter, thrown into chaos, with sirens echoing and residents desperately seeking shelter. This audacious operation by Hamas was in stark contrast to their previous strategies, which were predominantly focused on kamikaze bombings, mortar attacks, and guerrilla-style ambushes on Israeli defense forces. The meticulous planning, coordination, and execution signaled a new era in the long-standing Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Zooming in on the ground reality, a live conflict map showcased a slew of geotagged evidence. Israeli checkpoints and outposts, particularly within a 20-kilometer range from the Gaza Strip, were overrun. An outpost, typically hosting squads totaling to 40 soldiers, found itself awash in a violent torrent of advanced warfare, its 12-foot-high concrete defenses proving futile against the organized and well-coordinated attack. Israeli outposts and checkpoints designed to slow down major offenses found themselves ill-prepared to withstand the overwhelming force presented by Hamas. This surprising twist in battle dynamics raises eyebrows towards Israeli intelligence and defense, leaving the entire world with a bugging question. How did Israel miss this? The answer isn't straightforward. The fragmented history between Gaza and the West Bank, combined with the memories of previous attacks and counteroffensives like the Operation Iron Sword, may have given Israel a misplaced confidence in its intelligence capabilities. This was a huge oversight, or as Khaled El-Gindi of the Middle East Institute skillfully termed, a colossal failure. The political implications for Israel cannot be overstated. For years, Israel had thought they had turned a corner on the Palestinian issue, assuming a dominant role in the new Middle East and anticipating normalization agreements with pivotal Arab states. But as the smoke cleared, it became evident that this was not only a failure of intelligence, but also a profound political miscalculation. As we navigate this evolving narrative, the haunting question remains: in a world of advanced technology and intelligence, how did Israel find itself blindsided once again? A beacon of technological prowess, the Iron Dome has been Israel's aerial guardian since 2011, intercepting enemy projectiles, providing a protective umbrella against aerial attacks. But as 5,000 rockets painted the sky with trails of deadly intent, the question echoed through every Israeli household. How did the unbreachable become breached? The foundation of Israel's defense since its 2005 Gaza withdrawal has been its relentless commitment to border security. The state invested heavily in neutralizing threats emanating from Gaza, be it aerial, terrestrial, or subterranean. By 2021's end, Israel had channeled hundreds of millions into an advanced border system marked by sensors and subterranean barriers. However, on that fateful day, as rockets rained down, questions clouded the efficiency of these defensive marvels. With Hamas launching rockets, Israel's official data on interceptions remained conspicuously absent. The functionality of the border fence, too, went undiscussed by officials. As Israel found itself pierced by an unexpected attack from one of the globe's most under-resourced territories, the former IDF spokesperson, Jonathan Conricus, compared this catastrophic defense failure to a Pearl Harbor type of moment, highlighting a seismic shift in military realities for Israel. But why did the seemingly impenetrable dome falter? Factors like the sheer volume and possible technological advancements of the incoming projectiles, along with potential exploitations of known and unknown vulnerabilities, emerge as poignant inquiries. Whereas Israel declared Hamas launched 5,000 rockets, specifics about successful intercepts remain undisclosed, and the effectiveness of the border fence stands without official comment. The Iron Dome, predominantly funded and developed with the United States, historically boasts an interception success rate of up to 90%. Thus, any substantial breach in its operational success not only questions the physical security, but profoundly shakes the psychological confidence of the nation and its allies. As the skies over Gaza darken with the shadow of conflict, the ground scenario presents an equally alarming picture. The Al-Qassam Brigade, an armed offshoot of Hamas, have evidently intensified their offensive, pushing the boundaries of Israel's patience and resilience. But now, Israel's counteroffensives have sought to undermine the growing dominance of these militant groups in key locations. Khan Yunis, one of Gaza's most densely populated refugee camps, witnessed devastation as Israeli raids destroyed 2 homes, leaving several injured. Shockingly, in the Zaytun neighborhood, residents had no forewarning before the strike, a move that has drawn criticisms for the potential risk to civilian life. But Israel's stance remains firm. Danny Danon, representing the Israeli Knesset, declared that Gaza's inhabitants should brace for the consequences of harboring and supporting these factions. He stated, "We will do whatever it takes to hunt them down." On the ground, the Israeli military reports ongoing attacks in 22 distinct locations in the vicinity of Gaza. The strategic corridor, monitored closely by Israel between the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, has historically been a hotbed of tensions. Given its significance, any breaches or disturbances there could escalate the conflict manifold. Israel's message to the global community is unambiguous. Their envoy to the UN emphasized that Hamas is solely responsible for the conflict's repercussions. In a fervent appeal to the UNSC, Israel's ambassador Gilad Erdan asserted Israel's commitment to act in any way necessary to shield its citizens from terror threats. In a move that might further escalate tensions, Israel's energy minister Israel Katz halted the power supply to Gaza. Despite having an operational power station, Gaza's dependency on Israel for electricity has often rendered it vulnerable, plunging it into frequent outages. Highlighting their precision strikes, the Israeli Air Force announced the targeting of 2 high-rises believed to house Hamas military infrastructure. The Air Force emphasized Hamas tactics of implanting military assets amidst civilians, complicating the conflict dynamics. Undoubtedly, the situation on the ground remains volatile, and the world watches with bated breath, hoping for a swift resolution and an end to civilian suffering. In the midst of Gaza's burning crisis, the situation grows murkier as suspicions and speculations about a broader conflict arise. Hezbollah's surprise move on October 8, 2023, has sent shockwaves across the region. While skirmishes between Hamas and Israeli forces continue in the south, the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah launched a barrage of rockets and shells at Israel's northern borders. With Iran's backing and strong ties to Hamas, Hezbollah's potential involvement could be a game changer. Hezbollah has historically shown its might against Israel, reminding many of the 2006 conflict that lasted 34 days and resulted in significant casualties. The grim shadow of that war lingers, raising concerns of a repeat. Hashem Safieddine, a senior figure from Hezbollah, emphasized their allegiance to Palestinian militants, furthering fears that Hezbollah might indeed open a second front in northern Israel. But what does this mean for Israel's strategy towards Gaza? The situation becomes even more intricate when considering Israel's past actions. The year 2008 was marked by a fierce conflict in Gaza, providing historical context to the current situation. Given Israel's technological and military prowess, an all-out assault could have disastrous. From across the continents, nations urged restraint, echoing the urgent need for de-escalation as the violence rises rapidly. The Arab League emphasizes the dangers of perpetuating this violent cycle, forecasting a bleak future for regional stability if this course isn't corrected. Brazil, in its role as the chair of the UN Security Council, however, lies the question of what might be holding Israel back. Beyond the immediate battlescape, Israel has to weigh the geopolitical consequences of its actions, including its delicate ties with Saudi Arabia and the broader Arab world. The art of rapprochement, a diplomatic strategy that involves fostering better relations, has historically played a significant role in Israel's dealings, shaping its decisions on the global front. The European stance, especially from powerhouses like Belgium and the Czech Republic, draws a line against the rocket attacks, while the European Commission categorically condemns Hamas's actions, stressing Israel's right to self-defense. Yet, Iran's position leans towards the opposite, congratulating the Palestinian fighters and encouraging their cause. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's bold proclamation that the nation is at war and will emerge victoriously also sends ripples across the diplomatic world, emphasizing the stakes at play. Saudi Arabia's call for an immediate cessation of violence is particularly noteworthy, considering its regional influence and the potential for broader Arab world implications. The United Nations is also urging everyone to pull away from the brink. Their plea for maximum restraint, backed by calls from nations such as Qatar, reinforces the collective bid to avoid a humanitarian disaster. Lastly, the U.S. position offers a lens into the West's perspective. The Biden administration stands firm beside Israel, condemning Hamas's unprovoked attacks and pledging material support. Yet, within this alignment lies a cautionary note, as Biden warns other antagonistic forces against seeking advantage amidst this turmoil. In a world held together by complex diplomatic threads, every missile fired and every statement made has consequences that echo far beyond immediate borders. Thus, amid escalating tensions, Israel and Palestine are at a pivotal crossroads, with global eyes watching intently. As stakes rise, will diplomacy win, or will conflict dictate the next move? Only time will tell.